We begin with all the updates coming in from the Israel-Hamas war. The horrors unfolding in West Asia continue to make headlines. It's been 1 month since the war broke out between Hamas militants and Israel. But as Israel continues to crack down on the militant group through air and ground assaults, the civilian death toll is mounting.
Absolutely. Jordan's King Abdullah said in a post on X that at midnight, Jordan's Air Force personnel airdropped urgent medical aid to the Jordanian Field Hospital in Gaza.
The World Food Programme appealed for more aid for Gaza, stressing that trucks allowed in so far are no match for the needs on ground.
Well, the call for aid comes at a time when Israel continues pounding Gaza with significant strikes. Well, according to the country's defense forces, its troops have encircled Gaza city, cutting the region in two parts, that is, the north and south of Gaza.
היום, כוחות צה"ל בהובלת סיירת גולני כיתרו את העיר עזה. הם הגיעו עד לחוף הים בחלק הדרומי של העיר עזה, והם כיתרו את העיר עזה, ובעצם היום יש עזה צפון ועזה דרום.
The Israeli army has also said that its forces had struck over 2,500 terror targets since ground troops entered the Palestinian territory late last month.
While Israel continues to make advances through its ground assaults, Gaza was struck by fresh explosions on Sunday. The blast and flares were seen in Gaza from southern Israel. Shortly before the strikes, internet and phone lines were also cut, and the strikes continued overnight.
According to health officials in Hamas-controlled Gaza, more than 9,770 people have been killed in the region, including 4,800 children.
Meanwhile, in Tel Aviv, several rockets were flying directly over the city. The rockets were intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system.
While in the northern border of the country, 4 civilians, 3 of them children, were killed by an Israeli airstrike in South Lebanon on Sunday evening, raising the likelihood of a dangerous new escalation in the conflict on the Lebanon-Israel border.
العملية اليوم اللي صارت هي عملية إجرامية، عملية إرهابية. 3 أطفال أنا شفتهم، أنا حملتهم بإيدي. 3 أطفال احترقوا بالسيارة وما في حدا ينقذهم، وأمهم أنا شلتها وهي عم بتصرخ وتقول أولادي وين هو؟ وين هن الإرهابية؟ أنتوا الإرهابية يا إسرائيلية، وأنتوا الإرهابية يلي عم يدعموكم، وأمريكا هي رأس الإرهاب وهي أم الإرهاب.
Amid spiraling tensions over Israel's war with Hamas, America's top diplomat is on a West Asia tour focused on humanitarian aid for the Palestinians. While U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken made an unannounced visit to West Bank as well, he met with the Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas. The Palestinian leader told Blinken that there must be an immediate ceasefire and humanitarian aid allowed to enter the Gaza Strip.
Subsequently, the U.S. Secretary of State then made a surprise stop in Iraq. Blinken met Iraqi Prime Minister to discuss the Israel-Hamas war, while also the attacks on American troops by the Iranian allied militias in Iraq.
But when Blinken was in Iraq, Iraqis took to the streets in Baghdad to demonstrate against his arrival.
الموقف العراقي اليوم انكسر تماما باستقبال رئيس وزراء حكومة الإطار التنسيقي لوزير خارجية أمريكا. الإصبع الذي رفع في القمة العربية اليوم تم كسره وتم إهانته وتم إذلاله باستقباله ومصافحته. يد وزير خارجية يتحكم بإبادة الشعب العربي الفلسطيني.
Well, hours after an unannounced stop in Iraq, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Turkey in the early hours of Monday, and he will be holding a key diplomatic meeting. Now, Turkey happens to be his last stop in the region before heading to Asia.
Moreover, Blinken, who has been urged by West Asian leaders to persuade Israel to agree to a ceasefire, Israel has rejected growing calls for a ceasefire in Gaza.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu demanded that all of the more than 240 hostages captured by Hamas militants should be returned.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appeared to backtrack on a comment he was reported to have made earlier. The comment was about the need to check if a pre-war protest among army reservists pushed Hamas militants to carry out its attack last month.
But after public backlash, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu posted on X, and I'm quoting him here, "Hamas started a war because it wants to kill all of us and not because of any argument within us."